unusual visual aid to help us understand the next book in the New Testament that we're looking at today. We're now on to 2 Thessalonians, written fairly soon after 1 Thessalonians, because sometimes when things don't change or don't get any better, you need to hear the same thing again, don't you? And that seems to be the case and the reason behind Paul writing to Thessalonians. The situation for the church there is getting worse. The persecution hasn't stopped, it's continuing. So Paul, who loves that church, writes again to encourage them in faith, in love, and hope, commending them for doing all of the stuff, but encouraging them to stand firm. Don't know if you've ever done any falconry or been to a falconry centre and seen it done, but it's a wonderful thing to be involved in. If I had more time, more money, it's definitely the thing that I would do. I just love it. The connection between the person and the bird, between a wild thing and ourselves, is just incredible. But when it comes to falcons or some of the eagles, you need one of these, a hood, in order to keep the bird calm. So I haven't got a real bird of prey here, obviously. I've got some dead ones up there, but I'm not using those. But I am using a trusty friend here, a mock peregrine falcon, although its plumage is a bit more like a saker falcon, but we won't argue with that. And the hood is used to keep the bird calm. It's where we get the phrase hoodwinked from, actually, deceiving the bird that it's nighttime. But actually, it's a bit more positive than that. It stops the bird from becoming stressed by what's going on around and about it. It stops it from just being distracted by everything that it sees or can't respond to, particularly when its jesses are being held on the glove of the falconer. But what it does mean is that when the time is right and the hood is removed, it's focused and flies off in the right kind of direction. Well, there's something about that dynamic going on in what Paul writes. He's wanting to calm the church down because of everything that's going on around them. They're becoming distracted and unnerved by their environment, by the reality, it is real, of what's going on around them. And Paul wants to calm them down, not to pretend that it's not real, it is there, but to help them reset, to help them to focus on what matters so that they might then go forwards and pursue what really counts. The stuff that's going on around them is this persecution and intensely hostile situation. So some people have picked up the idea that it means the end is nigh. Jesus will be coming back soon. There are different kinds of understanding about when that will happen. You know, that things will just get better and better and better, and then Jesus will return to crown everything off. Or the opposite is that things will get worse and worse and worse, and when they can't get any worse, Jesus will come back to make things better. Well, Paul is trying to cut through both of that and say, we just don't know. So let's not get distracted by trying to work out, is it today? Is it going to be tomorrow? Let's not worry. Let's leave the decision about when Jesus is going to come back to Jesus and instead stand firm in the fact that we are united with Jesus. We are safe with him. We are secure with him, even if we're unsafe and insecure in the world. And let's keep practicing our faith day by day. Let's not be distracted or unnerved by the things around us, but let's remain focused. Let's stand firm. And he wants to encourage the church in Thessalonica that they are united with Christ. He prays that through them the glory of Christ might be revealed and that they might have a sense of Christ's glory being completed through their standing firm as well. They're so united with Christ that they share and reflect his glory. But he also wants them to know that they're not alone. He writes to them as dear sisters and brothers. They're part of a family that is beyond the community in Thessalonica. It stretches around the known world. They're part of something bigger. And so he writes out of love to encourage them to remain strong, to stand firm, to keep practicing faith and love and hope in the midst of an unsafe and insecure environment. With a pandemic going on around us, as we're looking through these books of the Bible, there's much here to encourage us, perhaps, of what it means to stand firm, to not be unnerved or distracted. When we experience a glimpse of what it's like for most people in most parts of the world most of the time, maybe we understand in a little bit more depth, read with fresh eyes, perhaps, the scriptures, and understand perhaps anew what it means to be called deeper into a relationship with God, to share in the sufferings of Christ just as much as in the resurrection power of Christ, to discover glory in both suffering and in resurrection. And it's why Paul ends praying and wishing that that small fledgling church in Thessalonica might know peace and grace, not despite everything that's going on around them, but through everything that's going on around them, through remembering that they are united with Christ, through remembering that they are part of a global family of Christians. Grace and peace. And that's a word we might need to hear ourselves today, receiving grace and peace. It might be a word we need to share with other people as we encourage each other to stand firm so that we might remain focused on what really matters. And when the Spirit gives us wings, that we might seek after faith and hope and love with everything that we've got, focused, without distraction, not being unnerved, but secure because we are safe in Christ. That's 2 Thessalonians then, an early letter of Paul, hot on the heels of 1 Thessalonians. Tomorrow we move into some letters written towards the end of Paul's life as he hands on the baton to Timothy and Titus. From tomorrow we look at 1 Timothy. Join me then.